wasteland silence is deafening. No one ever really talks about it, but it's there. You get used to it. Radio static, broken transmissions, the occasional whisper from a dead world. But sometimes, just sometimes, you'll pick up something that isn't static. A voice. Maybe it's an old broadcast loop, a relic from before the war, or a glitch in the system. But this time, it wasn't either. It was a message. I was on my rounds tuning my old radio transmitter when I first caught the signal. It was faint at first, like a ghost. I thought I was imagining it. Something left over from a bad signal. But then I heard the words, clear as day.
This is Vault-Tec emergency broadcast. For those receiving this message, we are experiencing a critical containment breach. Please remain calm. We are following standard protocol. This message will repeat until further notice.
It looped over and over again. I didn't think much of it. Old vaults, old protocols, always something out there, somewhere. But I kept listening. The next night, I caught the signal again. Only it was different.
This is Vault-Tec emergency broadcast. The situation has escalated. Containment breach is no longer the primary concern. The residents are no longer responding to protocol. We are attempting to re-establish order, but the situation is critical.
That's when I knew something wasn't right. A containment breach? People no longer responding to protocol? It wasn't the usual chatter of some abandoned vault trying to keep a schedule. This was something else, something worse. I had to know more. I packed up my gear, radio equipment, spare parts, whatever I could carry, and headed for the source of the broadcast. It wasn't easy to pinpoint. Not with the radiation storms and raider bands always causing trouble. But I followed the signal through the wasteland. Days went by. My food supply dwindled. But the broadcast didn't stop. By the time I reached the location, I had a bad feeling in my gut. There was something about the air that didn't sit right. The old vault door was half buried, but you could still see the Vault-Tec logo. Rusted, decaying, as if the world had simply forgotten about this place. I kicked the door open. Inside, the vault was nothing like the pristine, well-lit bunkers you see in the propaganda. This one had been abandoned, left to rot, with only the faint hum of old machines to remind you that it hadn't been completely swallowed by the earth. The air was stale, thick with dust and decay. I walked down the hall, the flickering lights casting long shadows. And then I found it. A room that had been sealed off. The broadcast equipment was still there, running on ancient generators and playing from the old speakers. The last message.
This is Vault-Tec emergency broadcast. If anyone is still listening, please do not approach. The situation has escalated beyond our control. The residents, they've turned on each other.
There was a pause, then static.
We are unable to stop it. The breach isn't what you think. It wasn't just the airlocks. It was the virus. It spread too fast. Please, do not attempt to enter the vault. If you do, you will find nothing but death.
The recording cut off. And then, silence. I stood there, staring at the equipment, the reality sinking in. A virus, a breakdown. I didn't know what to make of it. But I knew one thing. Whatever had happened here, whatever had gone wrong, the wasteland had swallowed it whole. And no one had ever found out. I didn't stay long after that. I couldn't. The air in that place felt heavier, like it was holding its breath, waiting for me to leave. I grabbed the tapes, took a few records from the vault's archives, and left. I'll never know what really happened in that vault. The tapes? They were too garbled, too damaged to make sense of, but I kept them with me. The last remains of whatever story this place had been telling. The wasteland silence doesn't feel so empty anymore. It feels like a warning.